What's good, people? It's about that time to randomly relate, reverse rants, no hate. So I got a mixed bag for y'all. First thing I want to talk about, Shawn Porter versus Terrence Crawford. Shawn Porter, in his own words, said he's turned down $2 million because to him that's an insult for someone of his stature to be offered $2 million, which was weird for several reasons. One, who else is Shawn Porter going to fight right now that he can even come and say, hey, I want a $2 million guarantee? I mean, we know right now, Errol Spence, from what we hear, he's supposed to be, he has a fight coming up. You fought Keith Thurman, you lost. Keith Thurman is on the shelf right now. You fought Errol Spence, you lost. You understand what I'm saying? You fought a Kell Prime Brook, you lost. Shawn Porter is a solid fighter, and there is some fights that he could have that he didn't have yet. I mean, even that could be interesting fights. I mean, a lot of people feel like, he lost the fight to Ugas, which is the guy who Errol Spence is supposedly fighting. I'm not even sure nowadays, because now we hear about two guys fighting and then it doesn't happen. Okay, which was what I'm going to get to also about this same fight. First off, Shawn Porter, you have no belt. You don't have any real estate. So for you to come and talk like, oh, I fought this guy and that guy, yeah, but you lost the majority of those big fights. You lost them. Even though they were good fights, you didn't get blown out, but you lost. So at the end of the day, if that was the case, for him to say, well, I'm going to outprice myself, $2 million is a guarantee, as a guarantee, that's a lowball offer. What are you going to make fighting anybody else? What demands can you make that people are going to say, no, we have to give Shawn that, he's at least worth that? Now, don't get me wrong. If you feel like you want more money, I mean, to each his own, but Crawford is the champ, right? So you're fighting for his title. Here's the crazy part, though. There's a guy named Bruce Trampler, says he's affiliated with Top Rank, says there was no offer made from either side. So now it's like, wait a minute. So what $2 million did Shawn Porter turn down? The last thing we heard was that his father, Kenny Porter, he had him on the job trying to get that fight secured. And so where the $2 million offer come, I don't even know what's going on now. Because like I said, you hear this guy's going to fight this guy wants this guy, and then nothing. So that fight right now is still in the dead zone. There's nothing that happened. There was nothing made. No offers actually made. I've said this video after video, saying I want to fight someone and sending term sheets and contracts are two completely different things. So right now, that fight is, like I said, it's in the dead zone. There's nothing to that fight. We've even heard Shawn Porter say, oh, he was interested in possibly going up to fight, Jermell Charlo. I haven't been making videos because there's really been nothing much to talk about. You know what I'm saying? And I don't like doing these videos about this guy said this and this guy said that and that guy said this. People, don't be fooled by this. These guys who get all hyped up and laughing and jumping up, pumping their fists, talking about how things are heating up and it's about to go down, and then all of a sudden we have no fight. So that fight is a no-go. Nothing's happening right now between Terrence Crawford and Shawn Porter. Nothing at all. This is a legacy fight for both guys, right? But at the same time, there's no offers being made. I've already talked about, Terrence Crawford sitting in the pocket being so quiet, just letting things not happen. At least making his presence felt, not just sitting up saying, I want to fight this guy. No, nothing's happened. Okay, so right now, there's no reason to be excited about Shawn Porter versus Terrence Crawford. Okay. Another thing is, we've talked about Deontay Wilder, his situation, his state of mind. Listen, people, The man did a video, did an interview. He's talking about he was cheated by the referee because he knocked out Tyson Fury in their first fight. Okay? And he usually calls the fight off. You know, Jack Reese we're talking about. And he didn't call the fight off. He gave him the benefit of a doubt and allowed him to continue to fight. Well, that's false, first of all. Jack Reese doesn't just call off a fight just because a guy goes down right away. That's bullshit. There's many fights that we can go back and look, and I've done that, where Jack Reese don't just call off a fight because you go down hard. Okay? He went down, he laid back. Yeah, there's been many fights where fights have been stopped because of the way a guy went down. We've also seen fights when a guy never went down in the fight but was getting hit with and wasn't throwing back and the fight was stopped. Championship fights included, okay? So if that's the case, well, Luis Ortiz was robbed against you, Wilder, because he rocked you and you was throwing nothing back. You was staggering all over the ring like a baby giraffe that just came out the womb, and you basically was throwing nothing back. I mean, unanswered shots, you was getting cracked. So the referee could have stopped that fight. Facts. Harold Sconia knocked you out, and you was given a second chance to win in the same fight. So what is all the crying about? You understand what I'm saying? My point, it's been 12 months. Deontay Wilder is still talking about Tyson Fury. He's still talking about so-called injustice. So where's my next fight is going to be this, my next fight is going to be that, this is the opponent that I want? No. Until there's some dry ink on paper, there's nothing that we can actually go by. Just a bunch of he said, she said. Look, man, this is getting a bit boring to me, to have to sit and watch a bunch of videos and hear a bunch of he said, she said. Because there's nothing to report. Okay? The man said he wanted Andy Ruiz, and if he doesn't get Andy Ruiz, he wants Dillian White. Then all of a sudden, Charles Martin's name came up that was the fight. Then all of a sudden, we come to find out, nope, there was no deal made between the two of them, that there's no actual fight. It was just conversation, but where did it come from? So now, the fact that it's 12 months later, okay? 12 months is a whole year. And this guy is not talking about my next fight is such and such. I have a new trainer. It's such and such. I'm ready. Let's go. First off, Wilder, I'm willing to guarantee you, if he does fight again, if he does climb back in the ring, it's not going to be against the top guy. He's going to have some meatball first. You know, and again, I go back to Errol Spence, giving him credit because he could have came back and fought a meatball to test the waters to see where he is. Errol Spence came back and went straight after Danny Garcia. So all the talk about, oh, he hasn't beat a real welterweight yet. Well, Kell Brook, no, it's crazy because people were saying Kell Brook was damaged goods, you know, in that fight against Errol Spence, when clearly he was actually outboxing Errol Spence and was looking good. He just started getting rocked, and you know Errol Spence had that. I'm gonna keep coming like Pac-Man. I'm gonna just keep coming until I get you. That's Errol Spence style. So that's what he did. Now Errol Spence has showed us that he can box as well, but how was he damaged goods then? But then he wasn't damaged goods. People didn't see that as you know, as him fighting Crawford. A lot of people did see it, but a lot of people didn't want to see it. Doesn't make a difference because the reality is the reality. But then they said Mikey Garcia wasn't an actual welterweight. All this, which is to me, is all crap because you got so many fighters, the Ray Leonards, the Durans, different people who went up and down in weight classes and fought different people, won titles. Nobody said that then. You know, it's just certain fighters they want to just try to take credit from. Errol Spence did his damn thing. He came back, no warm-up, jumped in there, and destroyed Danny Garcia. Completely washed him. Okay, now, at the same time, okay, Deontay Wilder claimed he was never hurt. The damages that he sustained was due to the man cheating, but he's fine. He was never hurt in the fight at all. You got hit in the head with an egg weight, but you wasn't hurt. You never felt anything. You didn't even know what was going on. But now afterwards, all of this your fanboy channels doing their so-called investigations and different sparring partners saying this and that and this happened and all this bull crap. Okay, we already know all of that. And then here's the thing, he's stuck on that. This is coming from his mouth now. Okay? The hell with the LDBC and whoever. This is coming from his mouth. He's stuck on that. Which goes to show you he's not mentally stable to go forward in his boxing career. He's not ready to jump in there right now. He getting there, let me tell you something. He getting there with AJ. I think AJ beats him anyway, but he gets in there with AJ, Ruiz, any of those guys will destroy him, man. His mind, he can't get over that loss. Y'all keep talking about, oh don't mean nothing. That's bullshit. It does. It means a whole lot. It means a whole lot. But as far as people afraid to lose their cherry picking and fighting easy opponents, I get that. But you think that loss don't bother him? He ended up firing a man and made excuses and lies up as to why. So you saw the video and y'all all are aware that it was said, oh, Wilder, everything he says, people misconstrue it. That's why he's being choosy with who he's talking to, even though he wasn't talking to anyone, right? And then we know that Tay Jones came up and made out of Tay Jones lying Pinocchio nose as self. He said, oh, he never said that about the costume. That's a lie. But now we have the audio, which I put in the last video. And so did everybody else. Because we get sick and tired of people making lies up and coming with bullshit to try to push false narratives and try to make that guy look good. The guy's not ready to move forward. It's simple. He says, oh, I'm moving on. But he keeps bringing up this same shit now. So now every time he speaks now, it's about Fury. It's about something that we really don't even care about anymore. And he keeps trying to push this whole, oh, I was cheated. I was cheated. But like the Harold Sconia thing never happened. Like the Luis Ortiz thing never happened. No. He went down. He was given a count. It doesn't matter. Here's the point. If he was knocked the fuck out, he was old man. Like he couldn't continue. I don't give it. How many fighters you think fell and lost conscious and was, by the time they started to get up, we've seen many fighters just beat the count. So let's not act like this is the first time that that's happened, okay? But at the same time, when he got up, you didn't finish the job. He walked you down and started smacking you around. So, I mean, what happened? You didn't do your part. At the end of the day, like I said, he's not ready to move on. If Wilder gets in the ring, it's going to be against some meatball, and I don't expect to see him in the ring anytime soon, if at all. I think mentally, the guy's a lot weaker than he even realizes. He says, mentally, I'm strong. No, you're weak, man. And he's still talking about something from 12 months ago. And he's talking about it like you can tell it bothers him. So remember all that stuff Tay Jones was saying about Champ is in a great space. Champ is chilling. I told you guys, when that guy said Deontay Wilder is depressed, he probably was. And like I said, all the jet skiing and shooting and all that shit is hobbies. This is things to get you off of what's, Listen, my pressure was high this week. I was aggravated. I was stressing about some personal. I knew, and I know why I felt the way I did. I was dehydrated, and I was like, you know what? No. Do you understand what I'm saying? And I had to get away from, let me get my mind off of what was going on, to the point of it's about solutions. That's one of the things that stress you out, is when you need solutions for something and you can't come across that solution at that time. So when you come across that solution, that's when you, okay, cool. Now I know what I have to do. We're all human. But Tay Jones sat there and talked like Deontay Wilder was 100% ready, Champ's in a good space, and then this and that. But at the same time, here it is, February now, 2021, and this guy's still talking about that fight, complaining. It's not like even like he's just talking about the fight, explaining what happened or what he think happened, like what he did with Fury. No, he's salty about what happened, and he keeps talking about he was cheated. Okay, again, Deontay Wilder is lying. He's not telling the truth. He's not being honest about any of this shit. But as far as his opinion and all this stuff, it's not going to change anything. For everybody who ran their mouth about what was going to happen, now y'all see that, turns out Aries was right. And a whole lot of other people was right, that y'all consider us being haters of this guy because y'all wanted something that happened that didn't happen. Okay, the man's not ready to move on. Simple as that. He's stuck on Fury, and he's not ready to move on. Bet you he wish he took that $120 million now, don't he? Oh, he about to get rich because he want to sue Fury and he's going to do this. Yeah, okay. Now, Dominic, Breazeal, Otto, Wallin. In my opinion, Dominic Breazeal, although he hasn't accomplished anything, he got in there with, you know, AJ and with Wilder, and that's pretty much what he's more famous by, is losing to them. And then the whole beef that happened with him and Wilder, with him getting jumped in the, you know, lobby of a hotel with his wife and kid there and stuff like that. Dominic Breazeal, you know, it's something about the guy, man. He seems like a down-to-earth guy somewhat. You know, he as far as, he seems like he's a chill guy. I don't know. I could be wrong. I don't know. I don't know him personally. But I mean, he, as far as his attitude as a person, but as far as a fighter, I think Dominic Breazeal understands boxing. But I also feel like he thinks he's better than what he actually is. He's talking about he feels better now. He changed trainers, and Abel Sanchez has him getting up, jogging in the morning, doing things that he normally didn't do. See, when people start talking all this, I'm rejuvenated, I'm back. You know, I'm doing things now, I'm in better shape now than I was, and then they lose again. It's like, okay, what is it going to take for you to actually win? I believe that this fight is actually matched up to where it's suited for Otto Wallin to shine. Now, Dominic Breazeal can crack. We know that. He got power in both hands. He can crack. The problem is he's extremely slow. He punches in slow goddamn motion. And I think Dominic Breazeal, I've said this last year, man, he's had too much wear and tear in his body, man, in his brain. He's even when he's, you ever see him shadow box? Everything he does just looks super slow, right? Everything he throws. Nothing he throws is, it's just all, you know what I mean? It's like, this is how he shadow box. You don't, he has no speed. You don't see him do anything, nothing. I mean, everything he does at a super slow pace. That's how he actually fights in the ring. The way you see him shadow boxing and throwing, that's how he actually fights. I think that this fight is really meant to make Otto Wallin shine. Now, if he can catch Otto Wallin and knock him out, he has the power. Otto Wallin is a boxer. He mixed it up more with Fury because he cut Fury. And he was trying to get him out of there and get to him and keep that cut, you know, make it bleed, keep it bleeding. He didn't, you know, he did what he was supposed to. And people say, well, if it wasn't for the cut, well, he did get cut. He got cut because he got punched in his face, okay? But they're saying Otto Wallin would have got out, beat up bad if Fury didn't get cut, whatever. That's irrelevant. But Otto Wallin, I'm saying it to make this point. Otto Wallin is not a big puncher. And he's a boxer. He has boxing skill. That's what he does. He boxes. I don't think Otto Wallin, truthfully, people, I know that they're saying, like, I've noticed that, like, this is going to be a slugfest. Saturday night, prepare for a slugfest. I don't think that really suits him better. I mean, it can, because he's faster than Dominic Breazeal, as long as he can avoid getting caught by something. But Dominic Breazeal is so slow, man, that I believe Otto Wallin either beats him in a 12-round decision or maybe a late stoppage. Now, if Dominic Breazeal somehow, if he pulls off the win, I don't see how. I don't see him. He's not going to become a faster fighter. He's not a better fighter. Like I said, if he wins, he's going to have to knock him out. He's going to have to catch him and knock him out. Dominic Breazeal is too easy to hit, man. He's too slow. His feet are slow. And he always says he's a big, strong, athletic guy. He hasn't showed any athleticism since he lost to AJ, man. Those days, I mean, he was more swift on his feet, could get around more, but in terms of his boxing, what he displays in the ring, I don't really see him doing much different. And honestly, you're only getting older, not younger. So I don't see him doing anything different from what he's been doing. And if he does win the fight, I think it's going to have to be by knockout. I don't see him outboxing Otto Wallin. And I think that pretty much if Otto Wallin wins this, he gets boosted up, of course. Now, for all the different sanctioning bodies, how high they boost him, well, that's yet to be seen. We've seen some crazy and weird stuff happen. But it's so weird because here's a guy who basically got destroyed in his last fight, hasn't really done anything. But if he was to win this fight, and I'm talking about Dominic Breazeal, then he's right back up there in, you know, ranked number 5 or something, ranked up, you know, right up in the top 10. He's in the top 10 already in some organizations. But you understand, it's like, boxing is weird, man. How they rank these fighters is beyond me. In all honesty, some of this stuff just makes no sense. Now, I think Otto Wallin wins this fight. Either late stoppage or points, or either late stoppage. And regardless, I just think he wins the fight. Unless, you know, like I said, Dominic Breazeal catch him one of those sledgehammer left hooks, because he does have power. People don't realize that. Dominic Breazeal has crazy power. He's just slow. That's the problem. He can't really catch with combinations. He catch with that one hard one, you know. And then everything after that is just like, you know, wild, hard shots. But he can punch. But I think Otto Wallin wins that fight. Let's wait and see. I'm going to watch it tonight. I know y'all are. I was going to go live and do it, but I got some things to do when I come back. And to be honest with you, I really don't want to sit here through like 4 hours of just talking about fights, in all honesty, you know, and things I have to do. So I'll be queued in to the main event. I'll be watching what's going on, and then I'll do my video afterwards, either tonight or tomorrow morning. But anyway, main event. And before I get to the main event, man, let me say this. You know, we seen Josh Warrington out of the ring for 16 months. You know, and he comes and fight this guy, Mauricio Lara, and Lara fought 4 back-to-back fights. Now, people would say, yeah, but they were nobodies, but he was active. And when you're not in the ring for a long time and you come back, and not only do you, you know, pick a certain fighter because you think you can beat him, but if it's things about that fighter that you underestimate, like Lara has power, he showed patience and poise. So maybe some of that was Warrington being rusty, maybe not being as sharp, you know what I'm saying? As well as him being better than what they thought. I think it was the 4th round when he really hurt him, and people was pretty much saying he should have stopped it. They should have stopped it. They should have stopped it, right? But they didn't, and he winds up getting knocked out in the 9th. But the whole point was this, man. Like, you know, that was what you call a banana peel fight, because Warrington wasn't supposed to lose that fight. So I hear Adrien Broner saying he picked this guy, you know, because he's a good fighter. He didn't want an easy fight. There's other guys he could have picked that's much better than this guy. But this could be a banana peel fight for Adrien Broner. One thing for sure, when it comes to boxing, like me, I'm not big on words. I don't care who you are. I'm not, oh, he said this and he said that. Yeah, okay, right. In the ring is where you got to back it up. So I don't care about what you say. We've heard Adrien many times already. Okay, when he lost to Maidana, he gave Maidana his credit, but you know, his thing was that loss was the best thing that could happen to me, because I found out who my true friends are and this, that, and you know, I had to make some changes in my life. Okay. He comes back, have some wins, but the point is, with every loss, when he lost to Shawn Porter, man, I'm not gonna keep fighting these big guys, man. You know, I'm going back to 140 where I'm undefeated. And it's like, okay. And when he lost to Mikey Garcia, remember before that fight, he said he's upset because I feel disrespected. People not giving me my props. Like, nah, Adrien, you gotta understand. You keep getting your ass kicked, man. You showed us you can beat D and C level fighters. You can beat a B- fighter. Some B- fighters you can beat, but when you get to the, you know, B+, the A-, the A, you can't. You know, when he fought Pacquiao, I beat that boy. Y'all know I beat that boy. No, Pacquiao kicked your ass, man. So now, for every single time, I came from water. You came from nothing, water and cornflakes, and it's like, okay, you came, like, we get it. You every single time, it's a speech after you lose. It's a speech about how you had to change your life around. You a different person now. You had to get your shit together. Then you lose, and it's like, what? Just look, man. Better man won. Simple. Move on. Now, with this fight, he's saying the same things. He had to get his shit together. He changed his life around. The rumors are that this is all money motivated because he's broke. And, and here's the thing. Excuse me. Whatever the motivation you need to bounce back, to come back and do what you have to do, so be it. The problem when something is motivated by money, now, if it's enough to where he really refused to lose, like he said he's willing to die in the ring, maybe that's because he understands this guy's not as big a threat as other fighters that he could have chose to fight. Who knows? We'll see. Now, personally, I want to see AB win. I want to see him get back on track. The problem is with AB, there's no way all this time has went by. Okay, you're friends with people like the Charlos, Tank Davis, Errol Spence, and you don't have enough motivation just being around guys like that. Shakur Stevens, like that's not enough. Floyd Mayweather, I mean, you was under his wing, and that is not enough motivation for you to just be around winners. So for his life personally, for all the crazy stuff he's claiming, because remember, he said he walked away from boxing to pursue his rap career. And then all of a sudden, he comes back to boxing. Look, the $10 million that he was demanding, bro, you got to earn that and put yourself in that position. Nobody's just throwing you $10 million. And with this COVID situation, it's going to be pretty much an empty arena. Okay, and it's a pay-per-view, so the upsides for the pay-per-view, they'll get more. Now, the fact is, this is a main event for him. And, at 140, there's some guy, put it like this. I'm not going to bring up who's next and what I think with other fighters, because let's focus on this fight. But if he struggles with this guy, there's a few guys right now at 140 that he need to stay far away from. If he has a problem with beating this guy. And this guy's, he's decent. Nothing special about this guy. He's decent. At the end of the day, I think that Adrien Broner, he needs this win more than anything. At some point, it gets to the point where, now we all remember the losses, okay? You remember some of the wins, but you remember the losses because he makes such a big deal after he loses. He needs this win. Because there's no way that Adrien Broner loses this fight and then has the right to even demand or anything or try to talk like he should be put into a top spot. If he loses this fight, what I see happening next, probably for Adrien Broner, is some up-and-coming guy uses Adrien Broner as a stepping stool to get to the next level. Because how many fights are you going to lose, man, before you realize, man, look, I have to change. Not just my personal lifestyle of who I'm around and get myself into stupid situations, but like what I'm doing in the ring. Because I don't know if this is true, but the word that I got about this fight is that this fight has been changed from 140 to a 147-pound bout. And I'm like, that's crazy. And usually what happens is fighters get fined for not making weight. We know that. If that's the case, it's only because Adrien Broner couldn't make weight. So how different or how much motivated, how hungry are you if you can't make weight? And to be honest with you, sometimes your body just outgrows a certain weight, But if he was 146, like they say, that's 6 pounds over, man. That's crazy. Anyway, look, I'm pulling for Adrien. I hope he wins. Like I said, I hope he can get back on track. But with Adrien, he's a fighter. Seeing is believing. Until I see it happen, it is what it is, man. All the talking, that doesn't motivate me, that doesn't excite me, and it doesn't make me look at you like you're any better than what you're saying you are. It's what you display in that ring. Anyway, look, this is all I'm going to say in this video. I will catch y'all on the next one.